Welcome to episode 56 of the OVW podcast, the unofficial podcast of Ohio Valley Wrestling. My name is Jackman Oaks.
I'm Brian Hines. How you doing tonight?
Sounding good? Sounding good over there? All right, perfect. Today we're getting all the action from OVW that will be at general. OVW. We changed up the script at the
I'm
last
Tiny
hour.
Brian, and I forgot to fully change the opening to the script.
No. We're getting ready. It actually says, no, I made the mistake. You were correct. I made the mistake. We're getting ready for OVW Homecoming, which will emanate live from Davis Arena on August 29th, 2024. That is the first show back in several weeks.
About 7. About 7 weeks.
Will it be 7 by the end of it?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
Been a long time.
In retrospect, I wish we would have taken these episodes and just watched and did the rewatch of Wrestlers. It would have worked out. If I'd have realized it was going to go this long, hindsight is 2020, as one of you is pretty famous for saying. So, regrets.
Now, that would have been the move.
That's my regret. And I'm sorry we'll get to it. We are still going to do that. But I wish we would have just, we want to try to have the wrestlers involved, and they all are kind of out of pocket right now.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I wish we would have just done that.
I'm glad that we had, in all honesty, a kind of a small stockpile of interviews as well because, a lot of these guys have been out of town.
I'm kind of glad. Well, I mean, obviously I'm not glad that Davis Arena had to close for renovations.
Obviously not.
But it's been nice to have a break. It's been nice to be able to shift gears and relax a little bit and spend a little time and enjoying this summer, enjoying each other's company, and focusing on things that are not necessarily just a regular weekly show.
Sure. Yeah, and I was gonna pull a U and go to something else in the absence of Davis Arena this weekend, but you know what I did? I slept. And it felt good to sleep all day.
That is exactly what I did. I went back to Ohio. I spent time with my cat, Lady Chunkington. I took a couple naps. Yeah, if you're listening, Lady Chunkington, psst, psst, psst. Psst, 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 psst. Who's the pretty? It's you.
We'll get that as a drop. But yeah, I slept. I slept all day.
Let's make a note of that.
I slept all day and didn't go see any wrestling, but that's okay because the return to Davis Arena has been announced, set in stone, August 29th.
And in fact, it was reiterated to me personally by senior members of OVW leadership this very evening that they are still looking to that 29th. It's going to be great that they had an awesome weekend in the 2 shows they could do on the OVW Dano's national tour. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the one we were going to go to at Riverfront Live was unfortunately canceled due to inclement weather.
Was the weather bad up there?
It was.
Okay.
It really was. I left here. I wanted to be home by 1 o'clock so I could watch the Bengals play. And I didn't really miss anything because they didn't have the greatest day yesterday.
I was going to ask how'd they do.
I got home to Ohio probably around 2, and it was raining buckets. Like, I got there just before things got crazy. The satellite signal was out, so I only caught, like, the last part of the game. But the part I did see really wasn't great. So
we're officially talking about the weather.
Hey, no, that's okay. No, we're talking about the Bengals.
We're unofficially talking about the weather and the Bengals.
All right, we're the unofficial weather channel.
Hey, we got to fill an hour over here, bro.
We sure. Well, maybe not this week.
No, we didn't. You were smart enough to kind of give us a message that we could put in the feed last week, and so
thanks for that, Brian.
So we were out of the office, so to speak. I think that's even what it was called, right?
Yes.
But this week we're coming back strong, baby. We're gonna give him a full hour, or we'll see how I feel at the 28-minute mark.
Suggest we change the name of the podcast to Ohio Valley Weather.
I mean,
anyway,
the website just says OVW podcast, right?
Yeah,
it could be about anything.
I guess we could. We're now the Ohio Valley Weather Podcast.
Hey, there's a market.
Not until we get a green screen.
There's a market for that.
Look, that's in an Amazon box. Get ready.
Well, chop.
One that we have here.
Yeah, no, one that we have. Overly valued Westerners. He keeps giving me other suggestions. But no, wrestling's back on the 29th. We're going to keep our original focus on OVW, the wrestling promotion.
Well, what if it wasn't Westerners? What if it was just Westerns? And I'm like, have you guys actually even watched some of these John Wayne movies? Because they're not that good.
Yeah, the Duke is somewhat overrated.
But to be fair, I did quote a John Wayne movie. I quoted John Wayne himself in the John Wayne movie when I gave my grandmother's eulogy.
That's interesting. Would she have wanted that?
It was like it was my central metaphor, like, you know, like in the speech.
Wow.
It was because in the Western, we got an hour. We
do not have an hour for this.
The movie opens with John Wayne's mother being buried, and he says to the pastor, those are some really nice words, and the pastor said, like, nothing that I could say would ever even cover, you know, how great of a woman right now doing this eulogy.
Well, that is sweet.
Yeah.
So Brian, there's still more tour to go on the Danos National Tour, right?
Oh, yeah. This party hadn't stopped, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Let's take a gander, shall
Let's
we?
take a gander.
This Friday, August 23rd, they are going to be at the Kentucky State Fair, as well as
Pretty
Saturday.
sure we're going to be there, too,
We're gonna
at
be
least
there?
one of those days.
Sweet.
Probably Friday, because I want to go see KSR anyway, so
Saturday, they have 2 shows.
yes.
August 29th, as we've already stated, is OVW Homecoming. August 31st, at Pikeville, Kentucky, Appalachian Wireless Arena. That is the biggest show of the summer.
We now have our tickets.
Biggest show of the summer, baby. OVW Fight Night.
That's right.
Featuring Kevin Nash
Victoria
and the Boogeyman.
The Boogeyman.
And who knows who else?
And who was that guy who we never saw the last episode before?
Wildfire Tommy Rich.
Maybe we'll get for Toby Rich, too.
That would be awesome, because I'm still concerned.
What did the Revolution do with Wildfire?
Like, was that? I'm serious. We can talk about it here, because we have an hour. But was that the implication? Is that EC3 beat up like a 70-year-old man?
That seems to be the implication, is that...
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it.
Because we were there in the
audience.
and it was kind of just unaddressed. And
Yeah, because Brian came to the ring, and he was like, please welcome Wildfire Tommy Rich. Music played, and then Crixus came out with his bat. Right? Remember that correctly?
Is that the implication that these guys are going around beating up legends of Southern wrestling?
That's kind of how it looks from this end of the couch, yeah, pretty much.
That's a bold stance.
Maybe it was just car problems or scheduling conflicts or something. I don't know.
No, I mean, you know, those old school guys, they keep their dates.
They do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless they're...
And also their plums.
Boo.
What? Okay.
Anyway.
I don't know what you just said, little kid, but I believe you.
Good.
Rounding out the Danos Summer Tour, we have September 7th in Logansport, Indiana, and October 5th, Mom's Music Shop for Rock and Wrestling.
That's going to be fun.
There's still plenty of stuff to look forward to after the 29th.
I do want to say this, and this is maybe something we can draw out on our Wednesday night show, so we'll make a note of it here. In the announcement video, it looks like they have a custom belt.
Oh, yeah, I meant to ask. Yeah, we need to find out more about that.
I'll jot that down.
So I wonder if that's like the point of the evening is going to be like
a rock and wrestling champion.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely a belt we should know about.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to maybe we could ask some questions around some people that we know.
Being that this is a rock and wrestling show, I think it would be a travesty if we didn't see Ryan Von Rocket.
That's kind of if Ryan Von Rocket isn't there. We haven't seen him in a little while. Always love Ryan Von Rocket.
We haven't seen him in the ring. We've seen him around.
Yeah, always love Ryan Von Rocket. But yeah, that's a missed opportunity. If that is like a tournament or like a championship that can be won that night, and it's a rock and roll belt, book it.
Or at the very least, somebody needs to get hit with a guitar or like a bass drum, like just smashed over somebody's head.
There has to be a street fight or like a guitar match, maybe.
Yeah.
a guitar
So
ladder match where you have to get the ladder to get the guitar from overhead and then smash them with the guitar to get the win.
So Orion, Maximo.
Sure.
Six-
We're booking this match.
Yeah.
I just proposed the
Is this
stipulation,
going
and
to
you
be a
just
6-man scramble?
Yeah,
or is
si-
that,
I was
okay.
thinking. I was thinking a 6-man.
If
Yeah,
we're
I was
doing
thinking a 6-man.
If we're doing a 6-man scramble ladder guitar match, Orion, Maximo, Super Z.
Super Z.
I was really Icon Lee.
Okay,
Maybe
I
in
could.
there.
I could see
I
that.
was-
certainly if there's a cancellation.
I was upset that they didn't do the Riverfront Live show because there was a triple
Yeah.
threat match between Orion, Icon Lee, and Justin Xavier.
That would
And
look like it was going to be fun.
it was going to be off the chain because if you haven't seen Justin Xavier live, and I hazard a guess as to a lot of the OVW audience has not, you are in for a treat because this guy is exceptional.
Yeah, no, Orion's that's in his wheelhouse. That
Yeah, I
putting
would-
together those kind of matches is
Once I realized who was at the Ascend show in Norwood on Saturday, I was kicking myself for having not gone because it was the two members of Arcade Hangover, which are Justin Xavier and Party Mike Howard, facing off one-on-one against each other. That
Arcade
was-
Hangover is a stupendous name for a tag team.
They're a stupendous tag team. I saw Party Mike Howard bowl a bowling ball across the ring and hit his opponent in the crotch. And that in itself was a sight to behold.
I would
So
pay money for that.
I did
That
pay-
would draw.
I
That would
did-
draw me.
I did
to have
pay
it
money
done
for
to
that.
you. Or
No, shit, no.
PG-13.
Hey, everybody gets one. Everybody gets one. Everybody gets one.
Shows my level of disinterest in that particular activity.
We got an hour. So everybody got.
Would you stop trying to make We've Got an Hour happen? It's not happening.
It's already happened. It's already happened.
All right, so I guess I'm just going to do the Bluegrass Homefront ad without any.
We'll get into all the action from this week right after this.
Hey, folks, Bluegrass Homefront here. Tiny Brian. We're just deconstructing the whole show today, apparently.
This is what happens whenever I'm actually in a good mood, got enough sleep, and ate before I came in.
And we've been 6 weeks without new wrestling content except in live shows. So
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, we're doing interviews. Music's being selected. There's a lot going on. We're going to do at least one Homefront segment about OVW. Like, we may even just sort of investigate how I got this crazy idea. Like, I may get someone to kind of come interview me and be like, Brian, why did you decide to do this? Because sometimes it feels a little weird for me as the one who has kind of put this together.
So, if we're deconstructing the show,
And we're now deconstructing the show that we do an ad for in the show. Because we have an hour.
I do want to take a moment to be pretty sincere. The last year, my birthday was this past week, and
Oh, yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Hold, please.
This last year, if you can think of a bad thing that has happened short of like one of your family members dying, it's happened.
You did have kind of a Cal Hero wrestling arc.
Yeah, it's happened. It happened to me.
In fact, your couch mate there, if you'll notice, now has some cupcakes
Some birthday cupcakes.
that we did. So we wanted to, definitely part of the reason why we left the happy birthday accoutrement on the set here is because not only is it the OVW's birthday season, it is also your birthday.
Can you produce a knife?
I
Brian?
can certainly try.
Because I cannot produce these cupcakes.
Okay,
without-
so we got
I
to keep
say-
the talking going, though.
I say all of that to say that looking at where I was on my birthday a year ago and looking at where I am now is two very, very different situations for me in a lot of different ways, some positive and some negative. But this thing, as you put it, Brian, is weird. It's weird that we do this. And it really happened about a year ago. And I'm just really happy to have this thing in my life. And I appreciate all of you guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this. And I appreciate all the wrestlers, and I appreciate not just the racists with us. And I think a lot of the improvement that I've been able to do personally, a big part of it was having this thing to rely on and to come back to, and to spend my time in a useful way, because it had been a long time since I felt like I'd done that. And so yeah, Tiny Brian is 100% right to say this is weird. This is a weird thing that we do. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. And earlier today, I met your dad.
Yeah.
And your stepmom. And I previously met your mom at the Manchester show. So I am fortunate to have met both of your parental units and a step parental unit. You've met my mom.
I have.
You unfortunately will not get to meet my dad because he's no longer with us. But in a way, you're kind of hosting the show with him every week, because as I get older, I'm turning more and more into my dad on a regular basis. And one thing he would ask me every year on my birthday, he would ask the same thing. What have you learned? And this is an open-ended question just for you as a birthday boy, and Tiny Brian as well. What have you guys learned by doing this podcast over the course of the year? I have an answer for this. Cheers, by the way.
I'll show you. Let's hear your answer first.
By doing this podcast are the little things that I learn about myself. Just little things that hadn't occurred to me, but by talking to other people and hearing their stories, I've realized that all the things that I have dealt with over the years that have made me feel less than great about some of the situations I was in and some of the people I had to deal with, I'm not alone. And I've grown a great deal by listening and talking with these folks and getting interviews where anticipated. And the one thing that I have learned the most is this. As easy as it is to get injured in a wrestling ring, or just by wrestling in general, wrestling has the power to heal broken people by bringing them together and bringing them a sense of community. Shared experiences, stories, stuff like that. And I feel like the three of us, to a degree, had all kind of experience things like that coming into this a year ago. But by spending this time together and going out and connecting with the OVW locker room and the faculty and the fans, we have all become a little bit better people in terms of me giving you the best version of myself, because the version of me now is much different than who I was a year ago. And one of the things I wish I could do is line last year and thank us for hanging in there all the times that were difficult and we didn't think we could do it.
Yeah, because there's been
a lot.
There's been a few.
I mean,
there's been a few times, and you know, like, it's not that this is hard, right? It's not that this is hard. Us talking to each other. It's not that it's hard to go watch wrestling. It's hard. Those days were hard because we give a shit. Those days are hard because we actually care, and we want this thing to be good, and we appreciate everybody that even spends half of an episode with us. You know, we would love if you listen to the whole thing, but the reason that we've had hard days is because this is our life, guys. Like, this is what we do.
Well, we do other things, but yes, we are passionate about this, and we know that you have a limited amount of time that you can listen to things or watch things, and we know that if you're listening to us, that you're passionate about wrestling in general and OVW in particular. And we are so thankful that you have chosen to invest some of your very limited time with us. And for some of you doing that week after week when the content has been, let's say, up and down over the last year.
Yeah.
And by the way, me trying to free those cupcakes, I do want to get both of you eating those cupcakes on film. Just try not to stain my couch.
How about we start with getting us some napkins? Because I'm sure that I've got like icing in my mustache or beard, and you've got some like right here.
I'm sure I do. I went face first into that sucker.
Tell you what,
Like a 1-year-old.
Why don't we do this? I'm gonna say bluegrasshomefront.com. Wherever you get your podcast, the last 5 or 6 minutes has almost nothing to do with it, but it's also a good thing that you should check out, and we're going to do more of soon. And that I love you guys, and you made me cry while I was trying to open up cupcakes. So,
Wow.
And I'm so thankful for your willingness to go along with my very weird request that we kind of do this.
Guys,
And,
this whole thing was. I'm not spiritual or religious, but when I think about how this all is materialized, there's so many things that if they didn't happen, even down to to Tiny Brian wanting to work at a radio station, him getting my shift to train under. I'm a great trainer, by the way, and I taught him everything he knows, and me wearing a wrestling shirt. That's it.
So we would have a maybe a 60-second. You think we talked about wrestling for 60 complete seconds that day?
On air, probably.
Yeah, that's what I mean. On the on-air conversation we had about wrestling, it wasn't exactly like we took the whole show and like.
No, you said it on air because I don't consider myself mean, but I'm pretty like I have a certain like when I'm teaching you, I want you to do things a certain way, and
right.
I have RBF. And I think I can come off a little one way or another, you know.
Well, yeah,
sometimes.
but that's when it helps that I'm 200 years older than you,
right?
So,
but I treat everyone the same way.
Yeah, but I don't respond to it as you can be bitchy. I'm still going to talk to you.
Yeah, right. But then the wrestling, you're like the wrestling thing, and you saw it in my mind. I was like, you're like, oh, I got something now.
Yeah.
Like,
now we've got a conversation.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and it's as simple as that. I bought a New Japan shirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that. I chose that New Japan was big that around that time, and then I am a dumb wrestling dweeb, and like people falling on their necks and like shortening their careers and stuff. So, no, I don't. That's a joke. That's a critique of Japanese wrestling. But, anyway, just all of this to say, it's been a blast, guys. It's been a blast.
It certainly has.
You want to...
So, bluegrasshomefront.com.
Bluegrasshomefront.com. You want to
now
kick
back
it
to
old
the
school
OVW podcast.
And talk about the OVW podcast stuff? You want to kick it old school?
Yeah, I suppose we should, being that's the reason why we got here today anyway. So
I have made you guys a list, so you can kind of run through it a little bit.
We are doing a belts, shows, and angles show. So this is basically a rundown of who's holding which title and... 7 weeks since we've been to Davis Arena.
I don't want to interrupt you. Tiny, can you grab that bourbon?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Brian Hunt.
No problem. You still got some like right there.
Oh my gosh, this is awful.
This is why I wear an overshirt. While you were over there talking, I kind of did this over here. It's laundry day anyway, so it'll be fine. And there's a lot of different colors and stuff, so nobody's going to notice if there's a little chocolate on the inside.
I do like that Twin Peaks shirt though.
This came straight from the festival. I actually went to this festival in 2011.
I thought it was at first. I thought it was a Songs Ohio shirt.
No,
but it's not.
This is an actual artifact from when that was a thing before the reboot in 2017, and now that doesn't exist anymore, and it makes me sad. But those are so that's an example of a lot of really good stories that we will save for off mic, and maybe one of these days we'll be fortunate enough to make it up there to North Bend and Snoqualmie, because it is eerily reminiscent of the town and the show itself.
Yeah, the next belt shows an angle. You can tell some of the stories. Thank you again. It's my birthday weekend. We're not gonna get back in the habit of drinking on the set, but that's a good thing that we did for a while.
We probably will a little.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, we bottle bourbon for a living.
But it used to be there's been some days in here, while we're reminiscing. There's been some days we've thrown down in here.
Yeah, well, it happens from time to time. You know, you get to talking with somebody, and they're like, "Hey, what? Pass that bottle over here."
Yeah, who did that?
I'm not going to mention any names, but
Who's been the funnest hang? Just like a hang, you know?
oh man, that's tough.
Well, for me, I think it's got to be the first time that we met Maria and Maximo in person. Everyone's been great,
Yeah.
but
That was certainly the biggest surprise. That was the first time it was a hang.
and that's also the first time that we'd had a couple of interviews. Like Freya and Crixus cannot get enough credit for kicking this whole
Layla Gray.
Cannot thank them enough. Multiple time guests, our first guest on the Wednesday night show.
And then it was Maria.
But there was something about, I guess, maybe her role in backstage, and also just like she's a cut up and Maximo's a cut up, and it was one of these things where I think it was the first time that I realized we were going to be doing this for a long time. I thought we were lucky up until maybe that's the first time that I was like, this isn't going away. This is no longer going away. This has been shaky until this moment.
Well, I mean, the backdrops were literally on just stands. They literally shook. So
Yeah. I'll never forget when they announced that Mickey James had joined OVW, and we got Maria
on a phone call.
We were able to connect with her, and then we heard somebody in the background cursing and accusing her of being on the phone with somebody she shouldn't be, and we all kind of froze in terror because we thought, oh God, what's going on the other end of the phone? And then we heard hilarious laughter because that was just Maximo Suave having some fun with us.
It's fun. He definitely would be in
definitely. He would have been the star of the show.
Well, he is everywhere. That's just in his contract.
Yeah.
You want to take us away, Tiny Brian?
Yeah. So why don't we kick it off with the OVW Media Championship?
Okay.
This is a belt.
This is the
Country Boy.
This is the Country Boy.
Yes.
That we can't forget that.
That's kind of, but not exactly delineated from the Kentucky Country Boy Heavyweight Champion.
They certainly seem to be like they talk about former Kentucky Heavyweight Champions as though when they talk about Tony Evans, they act like he has a claim on this or claimed for it because he was a Kentucky heavyweight champion before. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it just
unofficial, I guess.
It really it's not there's just something about it for me where it doesn't feel like a direct delineation.
Well, because there were previous TV championships, there were previous things that would have been more clearly transitioned, but it's just they didn't want to add another belt. They just wanted to take out the Kentucky belt and put this in.
And I love that Kentucky belt, but this sucker's pretty.
Yeah.
When Cal brought the media championship by here, that's a fine looking belt.
It is.
Yeah, that was a fine looking belt. So, so what do we got? We got Tony Gunn
Revolution
versus. Well, no. Here's the thing about that belt. We're not doing predictions right now. We're just recapping. Right?
No, we're just sort of recapping and talking about the state of the promotion.
So Tony Gunn is the second person to hold this version of the belt, right?
Correct.
He's the only Cal and Tony have ever held it. Where do we go from here type thing? I think Cal will win it back, but I've argued this is a great time for kind of much like Luke, Tony Evans before him, to make that jump into the heavyweight scene. To go from a mid title guy to the big title guy. And I think it's in Cal's future, and I think maybe even this absence is a great reason to kind of jumble up, where people are stacked in the card a little bit.
Sure.
Because we got to come hot out of the gate, and we will. There's no doubt about that. But
air conditioned. Air conditioned.
Yes, air conditioned, very important. But yeah, hot out of the gate, like a young filly. Man, I can't wait until you can go horse betting again. That's like 2 months from now.
It'll be here for you now.
You want to go?
Why not?
Let's go.
What, Keeneland?
Yeah. We'll go
Never
on a
been.
Wednesday. We'll go on Wednesday where it's just the real
No, you won't.
the real degenerates.
We're busy on Wednesday.
Oh, that's when we're official. We're
Yes.
official on the OVW network.
Keeneland last post is way before 7. I could do Keeneland and come back out here.
Well, then we're gonna have to talk to Abby.
But we
and
could do
see what
Thursday.
get
We
some
could do
time on our day job.
We could figure out a Thursday or something. But yeah, let's go when it's just the real degenerate gamblers, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've been before. I had a great time.
Yeah. Oh. So you have not been. I was thinking.
Yeah.
No,
But you actually have been
I
before.
have been.
Okay.
I was part of an organization, and as a team building thing, we would take a bus from Cincinnati to Keeneland.
Nice. It's beautiful, man. I love it.
Had a couple of nice afternoons there.
Sponsor us. All right. What are we talking about next?
The Rush Division Championship, the OVW Rush Championship.
Well, so we know where we're going with it. We know who holds it right now.
And we certainly know the rivalry here.
Yeah. The kind of the defining rivalry for around the Rush Division Championship since the time that we've been watching OVW, really. And it's not to say that any of it's been bad, but you have something really intangible in Buzz Backlund, and Will Austin is a fantastic foil for Buzz Backlund and really bringing out all of the things about Buzz Backlund that people like about him.
Yeah.
Will Austin is just kind of allowing himself to be almost like a canvas for Buzz Backlund.
I know how you feel about Will Austin, so I know that the Rush Division is a little bit closer to the heart for you, but there's a lot of subdivisions over the course of the last year.
Yeah, definitely. I the only reason that I say that this one is in the time that we've been watching is because Buzz Backlund is brand new, and he's made such a splash.
He really did.
And that's something that you can't always. You have to capitalize on it when it's there, because you can't. There's just something when people see somebody new, and is as good as Buzz Backlund has been straight out of the gate. People, it feels a little more era defining, right?
Yeah.
And we are kind of in a. Wrestling is almost always in a period of transition, but you're seeing a lot of new faces.
It is the eternal second act.
Yeah.
That's important in wrestling.
But you're seeing a lot of new faces, and so I think
Yeah, some of the older faces have exited stage left.
Yeah, and
Quite a class from the academy, really.
and yes, and everything's just kind of coming together. But I digress. Right, that's the gimmick. The Rush Division Championship has always been where you go to play fast and you go to, have cool stipulation matches.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times it would be, the show opener, or the hour two, like Buzz Backlund and Will Austin is like the hottest angle going right now.
Oh yeah,
The one
definitely.
and maybe not the most I'm not saying the most complex and most well built, but I think it's one of the ones that people want to see the most.
It's definitely among the hottest, and there's a lot of energy there, and visible airwaves crackle with life.
For me personally, the storytelling and the women's stuff, we'll get into that later, has been my personal favorite, because I just think it's been really, 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 really well
Compelling.
done. Yeah. And it's in no short part due to how hard all of them have worked. But this Bad Girls Club thing has been from a year out, if back to being, remembering the early days, from the moment that they became a force to now, going from the Bridesmaids or whatever to this. It's been there hasn't really been a miss.
No.
There really hasn't there has never been a misstep.
And I feel like they have the potential to tie back into that, because they just referenced the wedding on episode 1298, which we just saw this past Thursday.
Right.
And that has come up a couple of times in recent weeks.
But that, for me, if we're going overall storytelling, it's the women's stuff. But I think there is an argument to be made that it could be in such a short amount of time and only a handful of matches, buzz and will.
Yeah.
So, just I'm just talking to a microphone, man. I don't know nothing, but the whiskey's flowing, and
Well, that makes one of us.
and we got an hour.
We
So-
do. Or what's left of it.
Do we want to go ahead and kind of talk about the women's division? This seems like a perfect chance to.
Right. It's and for my money, it's the strongest women's division in professional wrestling.
I admittedly don't watch a lot of other stuff anymore because so much of my time is taken up by OVW, and that's not me complaining. If I hear something's really good, I'll go back and rewatch it. But the fact that I'm not actively trying to like find something different, because when I get dissatisfied with anything, I gotta find something different.
Sure.
So the fact that I haven't had necessarily to go looking for wrestling in different places should speak to that I'm just pretty invested in OVW because it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Like
Getting into this, I still kept up with everything, every weekly show as best I could. But these days, I really haven't had that much time. There's really only one thing outside of OVW that I am eagerly anticipating week after week. And we don't really talk about any of the other promotions, but for sentimental reasons, the continuing story of the Wyatt Six.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know. I'm just.
My attention, and will hold it until they
Well,
whatever
I
happens
mean,
next.
when MJF came back, I went back for a little bit.
Well, yeah, Yeah.
I have my stuff,
sure,
but
everybody does. Everybody gets back on their bullshit every once in a while.
got to. It's
PG-13.
important. It's good. That's your one.
That's my one.
So we're there.
Yeah.
We're still at PG-13.
Yep.
The women's division, though, the women's champion holder right now, Layla Gray, multi-time champion.
Also appeared in one of the other promotions.
She did.
Yeah.
That was such a cool moment for me as a day one AEW guy.
Yeah.
For the champion of OVW, so what I recognize as the champion is OVW, I'd see, as close as we are sitting to each other, was on the show that I liked. And that was when AEW, for what it's worth, was firing on all cylinders, man. They weren't missing back then.
No.
They just weren't. And now everything's gone horribly off the rails. But the story between Layla and her, as we said, her former teammate Tiffany, which seems to be coming to a head at Fight Night, in the form of a street match.
Yes.
That's gonna be that's gonna be a spectacle. That's gonna be every night's everything on there that's been announced is gonna be a spectacle. Our coworker literally was like, he was, and he said, 10-man cage match. I gotta see that. He wants to drive 2 hours or whatever it is to Pikeville. Is that how long it is to Pikeville?
From here?
From here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours from
Okay.
here.
Yeah. So he wanted to drive. 2.5
Who was this
hours.
again?
Chad.
Oh, well,
I guess I should actually say our Daily Bourbon.
My Daily Bourbon.
My Daily Bourbon.
My Daily
sorry,
Bourbon.
Sorry.
I always get that wrong myself.
Chad
but
Watson. Chad Watson from Rare Character Whiskey.
Chad.
Yeah, that's our friend Chad.
Yes,
that's our bourbon master.
Yeah.
So that thing is going to be a spectacle upon spectacles, and I think
I am so excited
this
for the
street fight-
cage.
I think this street fight, man, for the championship, I think Tiffany should win. But I think that this is just there's no wrong answer. Even if Layla wins, you send people home happy. If Tiffany wins, you get to tell a whole bunch of new stories. But this is going to be it's going to be brutal, man.
Undoubtedly.
I think that these two have a really special chemistry, and I think they know what's on the line. And I think after 2 months away, everybody in the locker room is going to be ready to perform. And this is as we've said just even a couple minutes ago. This is a high class story. This is an A plus story, an A-list story, and this street fight has all the potential to be just like the cherry, like the perfect ending, right? The cherry on top. But that's my prediction is Tiffany wins.
I thought we weren't doing predictions.
I'm gonna do it's my birthday. All right, go ahead. What's up next?
Well, you guys kind of did the whole women's thing there, but
Yeah, I felt like it was appropriate.
we talked about the Rush. We did talk. You feel like we talked about Will and Buzz and that whole thing and that championship. Feel like we got that fully covered.
I think so. Yeah.
Then let's move on to the OVW Tag Division Championship.
Okay. The current holders are Tustin Chains.
Correct.
You want to get any little crow for that, by the way?
Do in what respect?
Well, for weeks you were like, they're not going to win. They're going to need to take those off them.
No, I never said that.
I believe I literally have tape where you say that.
I never said. That's all for the show. No, Dustin Jackson. It was the right decision. I ate crow for it whenever we reviewed the show.
I know, but it's been a few weeks. There's not much happened. I thought we might
if I should eat crow for anything, it's how many times I at the beginning of that run was making fun of their name. Because now I kind of dig it.
Honestly, it has grown on me.
Yeah, so if I need to eat crow for anything, that's what I need to eat crow for. But, the first time we saw these guys perform in a ring together as a tag team, you knew you had something really special. And you have something really special with TW3, and you have something really special with Donovan Cecil. So it makes sense to put these two guys that together they can be special.
We also can now officially say that TW3 has another job.
And we do want to
congratulations
TW3 for
good for you, man. Good for you.
Can we do you want to say
Yeah,
where?
we can say where.
Women of Wrestling?
Yes, WOW, the same place where Island Girl TT is now at.
And Big Rig Betty, a.k.a. Amazing Maria.
And Holly Swag, a.k.a. Hollywood Haley J. They are the Mother Truckers, which is the greatest name in tag team wrestling.
Yeah.
He's it's hard to make money in wrestling, and he's in a really good spot now, and congratulations.
Yes.
So,
engaged, I believe, or at least in a serious relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe
Correct.
Engaged.
Yes.
I was going to say that, but I couldn't remember for sure.
And she seems lovely, too. We've met her. She seems lovely.
She is one of the superheroes of WOW, along with some friends of ours now.
Yes. So shout out to the folks in WOW if you're paying attention or just happen to hear about us from some of the folks that we have already spoken about.
We know that some of them watched Fan Zone Live the night that T-Dub was on with us live with Donovan. So
that's right, yeah.
If you happen to be listening to this podcast for some reason, hello to the superstars and personalities of women of wrestling. Or the superheroes and personalities of women of wrestling.
But back to the team of Tustin Chains. Like, how would you describe their run so far? I want to hear from you.
Well, I mean, in terms of the conversation we had earlier, look at how far they've come in a year.
Right.
I mean, we first saw Donovan Cecil at it was either at the big one or right after the big one.
And he's been one of our favorites ever since.
Yes, and he was impressive right out of the gate. Mm-hmm. But even as impressive as he was then, he has grown colossally over the course of the last year by leaps and bounds. And
when's that going to come out?
What's that?
Our last interview we did with him.
Oh, with Donovan? Who came out just last week?
That would be Boy Toy Troy and Star Player Prime.
So yeah, I think
shout out to you guys. By
yes,
the way.
they're out, and that's out in the feed. Go check that out. Lots of people are. In this time, our interviews are doing way better than the regular shows. So
hey, shout out!
Little
baby.
Little flip, but this interview with Donovan should be out this Thursday, I think.
So if you're interested to add some context to what you were talking about, Heinz, you can hear it out of Donovan's own mouth.
Yes,
on Thursday. But I agree with everything that you are saying. It's been kind of week after week of consistent improvement.
It definitely has. The chemistry between the two has bubbled them up to the top of the tag team division, and so much so that I have seen other people in other federations try to copy what they're doing. As a matter of fact, I made a Facebook post earlier this week noting that Otis had been using his partner as a weapon against the tag team that they were in the middle of a match with. And it's like, I mean,
like, I saw it.
Imitation's the sincerest form of flattery.
You're like, I've been done seeing this.
Yeah.
What am I trying to say here? I remember. I think a big part of why Tuss and Chains has worked so well is it allowed both of them, first off, to show what they were really good at in equal parts, and second off, Donovan has to get silly every once in a while. He does the breakdance move. He do the one. He does, and that character dynamic, that influence, that showing of personality, that rounding out of Donovan Cecil has been a huge reason why Tuss and Chains has worked.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely Donovan seeming game to kind of just dive in and do things that seem out of character.
Yes.
It is that energy, that willingness, and it's just wholesome glee for me. It's just they're just so wholesome in the best possible way.
And he can lift like a bajillion pounds.
And he could toss me around like I don't weigh anything. So, and I weigh significantly more than not anything.
Right. So up next, I think that covers it. I don't know where the belt's gonna go necessarily from after this.
Obviously, the number one contenders has got to be our friends Dustin Jackson and Flawless Jake Lawless.
Yes,
they don't have a name yet, so.
Yeah, I mean, but they just lost at the pay-per-view, so I don't know.
Well, they're going to be hungry for a rematch.
But I think that we have said everything that we can say, really, in a short amount of time here, about Tuss and Chains and their run so far and their run with that title. They have breathed a new life into it.
Yes, but it's not just Dustin Jackson and Flawless Jake Lawless that won a shot at the titles. It's Beaches and Cream.
Right.
It's I had somebody else and
Boy Toy Troy and Star Player Prime.
Certainly don't count them out.
No, I wouldn't, because they seem to be willing to do anything to get there. Super Z and Malabali Shira.
True.
It is
too much of a spectacle. They don't need it.
That is true. And, well, with cash flow back, I think that we may see the return of that classic tag team line chops.
And classic tag team, not a classic name, but
are those the Paula Deen lion chops?
I think that would be the smart choice. Really is, but I mean, you can't go wrong with cash. You just can't.
No.
But I wanted to see what was happening with Super Z before this tag team was made. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can kind of
wander back that direction.
Yeah. So that's if I was writing the show, that's what I would like to see happen.
Maybe we could try to contact Zachary D. Pittman III and see whether he could give us an update. Maybe he's spoken with Super Z here recently.
I have heard from Mr. Pittman III. And he tells me he feels like there's a pretty good chance he could maybe get Super Z in here for an interview at some point.
That'd be great.
That would be fantastic.
So the man's it would in fact be super. He's been elusive. There are some important questions that I feel like we need to know. For one thing, I want to know when he goes to Canada, is he known as Super Zed? Because
if he travels across the pond.
Yeah, do they call him Super Zed? And does he like that? So hopefully Mr. Pittman is supposed to be helping us get in contact with Super Z. We know they're lifelong friends, right. So hopefully we can work that out.
Always a pleasure to see Mr. Pittman. Not that he would be coming along with Super Z, but I like that actually might be my answer, is because Mr. Pittman seems like the dude that's like the hang dude. Like hang is a very specific vibe and feeling.
I mean, you guys did. You remember the interview you had with Mr. Pittman, right?
No,
he spat out his drink.
No, we're not working right now. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh well, certainly, yeah, but let's. Yes,
I digress.
He's like a vibe dude. You know what I mean?
It's a whole vibe.
Yes.
Yeah,
he's a vibe dude. So yeah.
Anyway.
Everyone's been great, but he's you know what I mean. He's like a dude. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
So let's move on to the OVW Heavyweight Championship.
That makes sense, though.
It
right?
does make sense. It also makes sense to move along to the OVW Heavyweight Championship, unless they come and get us from parts unknown.
You got it, dude.
All right, Mr. Olson. So yeah, we've got our good buddy and
Friend of the
show, Ball Bat of Revolution, Crixus, is holding this belt.
Right.
You know what I love about this? The normal play for how a heel gets a belt is that he brings his forces out and he tips they put the thumb on the scale. I love that Crixus won this belt straight up. As if no help.
Interference. There was interference from the masked men.
I thought sure he
but
won
they
that.
didn't attack him.
They didn't attack in. They didn't interfere with the match because he won it at the end of the first hour and then turned in the next hour.
Yeah, I remember. But they jumped in there and beat some booty.
I'm going to go back and watch that.
And I might be completely off base, but I'm pretty sure.
Get in the chat and tell us. We're
pretty sure. Yeah, tell me if I'm wrong. I love being wrong.
Also, for some reason, PS has written in my show notes here, Royale with beats.
Royale with beats.
I think it's a Tarantino reference.
Royale with beats.
Oh, instead of Super Z, it's Royale with beats.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Royale with beats would be a good producer tag.
Yes, like the Big Mac. We get the reference.
That
yes.
would be like a crummy burger, though. I don't think I would want a beet burger. Your teeth are going to be all like
Eastern Europe. That's somewhere in Eastern Europe. You can get a Royale with beets.
Beats me.
I had some borscht that was it was powdered and you just put it in boiling water. It was like instant instant borscht basically.
Like instant mashed potatoes?
Yes, yeah. No, it was exactly like instant mashed potatoes except it was borscht. It was pretty good.
I went to kindergarten with the guy by the name of Chris Borscht.
He's the heir of the borscht fortune.
Sure.
He owns the whole borscht belt.
He owns all the cabbage in the world.
All right. So yeah, what do we think about Crixus? Who could challenge Crixus, guys? Seriously, who do we think is in the offing? Because I don't know who is going to go after that belt at all. Do you?
I could see the veteran Jack Vaughn stepping up.
Sure.
Potentially.
You look thoughtful, Jackman.
Well, because
that's just speculation.
Because I don't know. Because I don't have a good answer, to be 100% honest with you.
Narratively, as soon as Crixus won the belt, it just sort of became his belt. There was no one who was hostily contesting him. Am I wrong? Am I right about that?
He has not defended it.
No. But before he left, things were heating up between he and Jay De Niro.
Crixus, yeah, well, that's why he was on the shelf for quite a bit.
Yeah, Jay's the one who put him there.
That is my point exactly. And De Niro also had beef with Jack Vaughn at the waterfront when we saw Crixus return, or at least I did and didn't say anything to you guys.
They should bring that back.
Brian knowing things and not telling us?
No, Jay De Niro and Jack Vaughn. They should bring that back.
I think that there should be a triple threat match for the heavyweight title with Crixus, Jack Vaughn, and Jay De Niro.
I don't
slotting Jay up in there high.
I was gonna say I love Jay as much as you do, but that would be.
But what?
Hey, look, whatever he earns, I'm happy for him. I'm not gonna say Look, I know Jay. He's bigger than me. I'm not gonna make any particular point there, except to say that wow.
What I liked about the Jack Vaughn Jay De Niro thing when it was going was that he didn't have to break from being Tony Evans's guy to have a program.
Right.
And usually so many of those, enforcer type, bodyguard type guys, the program is the guy they've been protecting. With the Jack Vaughn and Jay De Niro thing, it was something completely separate that was engaging and good. I enjoyed it. I remember enjoying it proportionally higher than other things that were going on.
Agreed.
That is true.
Yes.
So, and that's not to say any of it was bad, but it was exciting to see Jay De Niro get a high slot, like you're saying.
My point exactly.
So,
but what do I know?
I'm just a guy with a microphone.
I'm just a Buckeye on a couch with a microphone blabbing about wrestling.
We'll probably have a better idea of who the next challenger is for the heavyweight championship by the end of that 10-man cage match.
I would say you're probably right about that. Well, I can't wait to hear what the exact stipulations of that are going to be. But yeah, let me just say again, I love a cage. Let's move along. We are moving up on the hour that we
I know.
actually
I
said
told
we
you
have.
we'd get
So
there.
what
What
else
do we
do
got
we have
left?
to talk about?
Yeah, I don't think we have any. I told you.
So
I'm good. I'm good.
If we're out of current events as far as like the title scenes and all that, I have a question about the 29th.
okay,
So this is OVW Homecoming, right?
right.
Are you guys like dressing up and bringing dates?
I mean,
I might wear a jacket.
that would be interesting.
If that's your, I want to support your idea.
Just I mean, are we going to try to make this like
Or costume?
a semi-formal kind of event?
I want to.
We could get everybody to dress up like wrestlers.
I'm gonna rock the jacket much like a Wednesday night look, and that'll be that kind of still fits in my gimmick too. Of you ever seen Community?
The show?
Yeah,
A little bit.
like I got a lot of Jeff Winger in my day today.
That's definitely true.
I got a lot of Jeff Winger.
I can totally see you faking your way into people thinking you're a lawyer.
And that was played by who?
You guys want to hear a story? Joel
McHale.
McHale.
I see.
One time my apartment was flooding. All this water, and it was like a motel style apartment. There's all this water. Every time it rained, it would build up and almost get in. And I called the landlord, and he said, "Get over it." And I said, "Oh, buddy." So then his mom, who is also one of the landlords, comes by with like her boyfriend. Long story short, we're arguing back and forth. And I said, and I'm not going to pay rent. And I know 7 other people on this level that aren't going to pay rent either. Just telling them, I will go and organize everybody to not pay rent because this is ridiculous. You guys are sitting here telling me that you can't do anything. And they said, "Oh, what are you, a lawyer or something?" And I said, "Yeah, I just graduated law school." And after that, it was a very different conversation.
So
but in that way, I just took the opportunity to gain an upper hand in conversation. I didn't really go through the trouble.
You didn't join a law firm and end up having to go to community college with Chevy Chase.
I just realized that when that I needed to give myself more of an upper hand in this situation because you should be mean to your landlords.
Okay.
That sounds like an Erwin M. Fletcher kind of thing to do.
Yes, very. Big influence on me.
I do have one more wrestling thing I would like to talk about.
Okay,
and that
let's
is,
do it.
will we ever either get rid of or see more of EC3?
Got to take the belt off sometime.
One would hope. I wouldn't mind if he was here more often.
Just between you and me and the walls here, I think that is a pretty general sentiment.
Is that us just being worked, though?
No.
For me, the word on this is part-timerific.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an OVW and hold a title, show up more. I mean, you're part of the main storyline now, but
I think that
you could be more present. And it's nothing against him.
No.
Because things are actually getting pretty good as far as the story goes. But, be there all the time. Or at least a little bit more. I know you're a busy man and all that. But the over man thing needs to be over man.
I think that this is a sentiment that you might find far and wide. And I'll leave it at that.
Who am I to say?
Yes, exactly. Who am I to say?
So I think we've touched most all the belts.
Let's end that conversation by saying this. I don't know who the next person could be. I think that they view that belt as the biggest belt in the company. We know that for sure. Mm-hmm. And because of that, the most star with the most national appeal is going to have that belt. So you have to have someone with enough national appeal to beat EC3.
I guess that is why they call it national.
Which means it's another part-timer. And maybe that's indicative of the problem of the belt, having to be on such a, usually the function of that belt is to be on someone with a bigger profile. And that's why it was on Jesse for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Is Cash after Tulsa King an answer? Maybe. I haven't seen Tulsa King. I don't know. Season 2, whenever it comes out with Cash in it.
Which is on our list of things
to do.
Watch.
Yeah. But, that's what, if we're just getting down to the brass tacks of that title, it has to go on someone with a wide national or international profile. And in that way, you might consistently run into the problem of only being able to put it on part-timers. I do think, having said that, if that is the function of the belt, that's fine. I would like to see it defended more often, and I would like to get it off of EC3 at some point in the somewhat near future. And that doesn't mean EC3 can't be around or that I don't want to see more Revolution stuff. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that there is a lot of people, not just fans, that say, hey, I want to see something different with that belt. And I just think that I don't think it has to be a part of the storyline necessarily, like the Revolution thing. I think that everyone is better off when that belt changes hands.
All right.
Does that
I
about
agree.
encapsulate it?
I second that.
Okay.
Take us home, Brian.
Ohio Valley Wrestling is produced by Black Light Moon Productions at Nut House Studios in Lexington, Kentucky. The OVW podcast broadcast team is my colleague Jack Minokes. Happy birthday.
Thank you, brother.
And Brian Hines, that would be myself. Our studio engineer and editor is Malachi Produce and Stuff Woodard. Executive producer is Tiny Brian K. Woodard.
You're lucky we didn't sing for you this week.
Yeah.
No, you already covered that.
You're even more lucky I didn't try to play the xylophone. We'll save that for another time. Senior
Hey, I
producer
like
for
the
the Blimp.
xylophone.
I need to practice a
We'll
little
get
bit more
there.
with it.
We'll get
yeah,
there.
I'm no percussion, but I'm unfamiliar with the xylophone as of right now. But-
you got the basics down of the hand movement and stuff. So
Yeah,
you'll get there.
I digress. Anyway.
We need new wrestling.
Yes.
Please, Al, give us new wrestling.
No, I can do this every week. What do you mean? This is the most fun I've had on a show in forever. This has been great.
Finish the credits.
Senior producer for The Blimp is Victor Anderson. On Wednesday night, catch the OVW podcast team as we host the OVW Fan Zone and OVW Fan Talk Show on OVW Video Networks, where fans talk back.
Love that.
After watching wrestlers on Netflix, visit OVWpodcast.com/podcasters to find all episodes of our unofficial Wrestlers After Show. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us 5 stars and give us a review, please, and thank you in advance. You can also follow us at OVW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, Threads, and all the way to Davis Arena for Homecoming on August 29th.